you know, you don't want to talk about Star Wars, you hate Star Wars. I said, look, do you go through your old high school yearbook with any regularity? It's hard to look at yourself back when, I mean, I was probably my son's age there, but, you know, I've never seen that. I don't watch it, you know, it's just not my thing. I apologize, but that's the way it is. And I want to tell you that because I don't know so much about the current trilogy, I mean, I saw them all. They were overwhelming, but what I'm telling you is that I knew about what I did, and I was really focused on ours, and I knew my lines, I knew other people's lines. I was always asking George, you know, how come I'm living with my aunt and uncle? I was asking him, where's my dad? Why is the milk blue? I was really on him, and you know, I realize now he made up all these lies just to shut me up, you know. I remember actually saying to him one time, honest to God, Darth Vader, kind of sounds like Darth Father. You know? But I didn't think in a million years, you know, believe me, I'm not saying I had a foresight, it just, I love the way I said, did Chewbacca from chewing tobacco? I mean, you know what I mean? I asked about R2-D2, real 2, dialogue 2, and so forth. 3POs, like Cheerios, I don't know. But you know, so I was really, I was very much into this and very much wanting to spread the word because I thought, this is going to be a great success, only because it's so fanciful and it's got a sense of humor. We thought it was hilarious. I mean, there's big laughs when you have a big furry dog flying your spaceship.
My question is that, like most actors, when you first read that first script, you know, did you think it was going to be as big as it was, or was it just?
I had a friend that was working at the LA Art Museum, Jonathan Benair, was my best friend. And I said, Jonathan, can you pull like the top grossing fantasy films since the advent of sound, you know, from King Kong all the way through? And he brought it out to my house, we looked it over, and I let him read the script. There was no lockdown on security then, you know, anybody could read it. But I remember making a prediction. I said, I bet we're going to be more popular than Planet of the Apes. And I meant the one with Charlton Heston. And so, yeah, I thought for sure we would. I said, even if this thing tanks at the box office, it's got cult classic written all over in terms of midnight screenings for college kids and stuff, because up until that time, it just seems to me, I could be proven wrong, but most science fiction seems so serious. You know, it's very, you must not go, you know, plateau. I loved it all. I'm not criticizing it, but what I'm saying is it had a unique sort of combination of, you know, the Americans and the British. It seemed, you know, a nice mix of, you know, I said, it's like the Little Rascals in outer space. You know, we're bumping heads. You call this a plan? Give me that gun. I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I mean, it had its serious side, no question about it. And I thought it was so wonderful the way they could use something like the Force to appeal to people's spirituality without making them uncomfortable talking about religion. So, I mean, I was all over this thing. I said, I love this more than I can say. And I did think we would do parts 2 and part 3. But going full circle now, I remember saying, I've got to go to work on the days that Peter Cushing is working, because I have to meet him, you know. Again, I loved Christopher Lee and
House of Horrors,
all of that Hammer stuff. Again, because my parents say, you're not seeing that stuff. And so, of course, you know, you might as well just buy me the ticket and drive me right to the theater. I learned that as a parent, you know, don't object too much because
did you have any favorite scenes in the movie?
Well,
scenes that you participated in.
Well, I remember being how disappointed I was that there was only one take of when I swam with the princess. Is that the right grammar? When I was swinging with the princess? They had 3 cameras that they did. We were in harnesses like the way they fly Peter Pan. In fact, it was the Foy family that flew us. And she was in a harness, I was in a harness, and then they linked us together. And I mean, I just thought, because I've always wanted, I'd seen in the movies, Robin Hood and Zorro, and so many people swing across. You know, and it wasn't until later, I think I saw Daffy Duck where I went, yeah, you would slide down and get a hell of a rope burn. But it was such an iconic kind of thing to do, you know, in that situation. And again, even George didn't like that they kept getting a laugh when she kissed me. He said, for luck, and then we swing. And he kept getting a laugh when he was showing it to test audiences. And Marcia said, they're not laughing at it. He thought it was an inappropriate laugh. And Marcia, I'm so glad.
It's just they kissed you, so it probably wasn't an appropriate laugh.
Well, that's it. I mean, people say now, you know, if you've done parts, whatever the numbers, I get mixed up, but if you've done the final trilogy, first of all, there would have been more different protagonists, but George did ask me, would I do a small part in, I think, the number 9? And I said, doing what? You know, because I'm figuring it out and I'm thinking, gee, it'd be nice to have a job lined up at the turn of the century. Because I said, when is this going to be? I mean, in 1976. He goes, like 2011. And it's fantastic where, you know, I defy anyone to add 34 years to whatever age you are and not be shocked. Whether you're 5 or 50, that's too much to contemplate. And, you know, I was like, well, I guess. I mean, what would I do? And he said, oh, you'd hand down Excalibur to the next hope. And I said, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, oh, I'll be like Obi-Wan's age, won't I? Meaning Sir Alec, you know, so I said, sure. What do I know? But I do think, because people say, well, you know, I mean, in the beginning I said, I should read just the screenplays and the comics based on the screenplays. I'm not reading, I think the first one was Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and then all this stuff started coming out, and I said, you know, I'm going to be pure. I don't want to be influenced by anybody but what the person that I have to be loyal to, which is the screenwriter, whether it's Larry Gadsden or George or Gloria and Willard Hike. I guess you guys know they really contributed greatly to, which I think adds so much to the graffiti-like rapport of the originals in terms of the way we relate to one another. Because you got a farm boy, you got a princess, you got a cynical space pirate and a wizard. And to me, I said it's so much more fairy tale than it is science fiction. To me, if we've been traveling in horse-drawn carriages, it could be set in medieval times. And then again, the Hidden Fortress, which is one of George's inspirations, you see how much it's more tied to, I think, fairy tales and fables than it is traditional science fiction. But
you talk about travel as such. Any favorite locations?
Well, I didn't have enough time. By the way, I mean, I was like 11 years old when I heard the first Beatles song, and it was on a single, the summer of '63, before they really hit. And I thought it was like the Chipmunks or something, because it sounded like it was From Me to You. And I thought it was kind of sped up or something, the way their harmonies were so dissonant and stuff. And I just went mad for it. The girl up the street had it, and my sisters had 45s and everything. And she said, oh, I got this one From Me to You. And I just went, this is the greatest. But there was no picture of them. And I said, the Beatles. And I thought, oh, it must be like the Chipmunks. It sounded like a gimmicky name or something like that. Of course, 6 months later,